Europe looks perfect on camera. Beautiful streets, historic buildings, cozy cafes, and postcard views that millions of people dream about. But what if the places that look the best don't always feel the best? What if behind the beauty, there is pressure, silence, and a sense that something has changed? Today, we re-explore in European cities that still look incredible, but feel very different once you spend real time there. These are not bad places. They are beautiful places with a reality most people never talk about. Paris, France. Paris is often described as the most beautiful city in the world. Wide Buddha historic architecture, elegant cafes, and iconic landmarks like the Eiffel Tower and the Louvre give Paris a timeless charm. From a distance, the city looks romantic, artistic, and full of life. Every photo seems cinematic. Every street appears carefully designed to impress. But living in Paris or spending extended time there can feel very different from what the images suggest. For many residents, daily life in Paris is defined by pressure rather than romance. Housing is one of the biggest challenges. Apartments are often extremely small, expensive, and difficult to secure. Many people live far outside the city center and commute long hours just to afford rent. The beauty of the city doesn't always compensate for the stress of daily logistics. Crowds are another constant presence. Paris is one of the most visited cities in the world, and tourism never truly slows down. Popular areas feel permanently full, and even ordinary neighborhoods experience constant movement and noise. This creates a sense that the city is always performing, always being watched, and never really resting. Socially, Paris can feel distant. The city is sophisticated, but also emotionally reserved. For newcomers, building meaningful connections can take time. Many people describe Paris as stunning but emotionally heavy, a city that demands a lot but gives back slowly. Paris still looks magical, but for those who live there, it often feels intense, crowded, and demanding. It's a place that photographs beautifully, yet lives with constant pressure beneath the surface. 2. Venice, Italy. Venice looks like a dream frozen in time. Narrow canals, gondolas, historic bridges, and centuries-old buildings create one of the most visually unique cities on Earth. Every corner looks like a painting. Every reflection on the water feels unreal. Venice doesn't just look beautiful, it looks impossible. But the reality of Venice is fragile. Venice is not designed for modern daily life. Basic activities like grocery shopping, medical visits, or commuting are complicated by the city's layout. Everything depends on boats, timing, and water levels. For residents, simple routines can feel exhausting over time. Tourism has transformed Venice into something closer to a stage than a living city. Millions of visitors arrive every year, often staying only a few hours. This has pushed local businesses out and replaced them with souvenir shops and short-term rentals. Many Venetians have left because life became too expensive and too inconvenient. Another constant concern is flooding. High-water events are becoming more frequent, reminding residents that the city's future is uncertain. Buildings, infrastructure, and daily life all exist under the shadow of environmental risk. Venice is breathtaking to look at, but emotionally, it feels temporary, like a beautiful place slowly disappearing. It's admired by the world, yet increasingly difficult for real people to call home. And in part 2, we'll continue with cities that appear vibrant and modern on the surface, but feel very different once you live there. If you're enjoying this deep, realistic look at Europe beyond the postcards, make sure to like the video, subscribe, and stay with us for the next part. Because the most surprising cities are still ahead. Some cities don't lose their beauty. They lose their balance. On the surface, everything still looks perfect. Colorful streets, happy faces, lively energy. But when a place slowly stops feeling like home for the people who live there, the change becomes impossible to ignore. 3. Barcelona. Spain, Barcelona looks like a city designed for happiness. Sunlight reflects off colorful buildings, palm trees line wide streets, and the Mediterranean Sea feels close no matter where you are. The city has beaches, art, music, food, and a relaxed rhythm that attracts millions of visitors every year. From the outside, Barcelona looks vibrant, youthful, and alive. But living in Barcelona today feels very different than tourism has reshaped the city in ways that aren't always visible in photos. Entire neighborhoods have shifted from residential communities into short-term rental zones. Apartments that once housed families are now listed for tourists, driving rents higher and pushing locals further away from the city center. Many long-term residents feel like guests in their own neighborhoods. The cost of living has risen faster than wages. For younger generations, owning property feels impossible, and even renting requires sharing small spaces with multiple roommates. This financial pressure slowly changes how people experience the city: less freedom, more stress, and fewer long-term plans. Crowds are another major factor. Barcelona doesn't have an off-season anymore. Streets that look lively in videos feel overwhelming in real life. Public transport stays packed, beaches feel crowded, and everyday errands take longer. The constant presence of visitors creates a sense that the city is always on display. Emotionally, this has created distance. Many locals love Barcelona deeply, but feel that the city is no longer built for them. It looks energetic and joyful, yet for residents, it can feel exhausting. Barcelona hasn't lost its beauty. It has lost some of its intimacy. It's still one of Europe's most attractive cities, but the feeling has shifted from home to destination. 4. Amsterdam, Netherlands. Amsterdam looks calm, clean, and perfectly organized. Canals reflect narrow houses, bicycles move smoothly through traffic, and everything appears balanced and intentional. From photos alone, Amsterdam feels peaceful, progressive, and ideal for modern living. But daily life tells a more complicated story. The housing situation in Amsterdam is one of the most challenging in Europe. Finding a place to live is extremely competitive, expensive, and stressful. Even professionals with good incomes struggle to secure long-term housing. Small apartments with high rent are common, and waiting lists can stretch for years. Space itself becomes a mental challenge. Homes are compact. Privacy is limited, and personal space is something people learn to live without. While this works for some, others find it emotionally draining over time. Amsterdam also operates under a very structured system. Rules are clear, systems are efficient, and expectations are high. This creates safety and order, but it can also feel restrictive. For people used to flexibility or spontaneity, daily life may feel controlled rather than relaxed. Socially, Amsterdam is friendly on the surface, but reserved underneath. Making deep connections takes time. Many residents describe the city as comfortable, but emotionally quiet. It's a place where everything works, yet something feels missing. Amsterdam still looks like one of the best cities in the world, but the feeling is less about warmth and more about structure. Beautiful, efficient, and stable, but not always emotionally easy. And in the next part, we'll look at cities that feel like living museums, stunning to see, but strangely disconnected from everyday life. If this video is changing how you see Europe beyond the travel photos, like the video, subscribe, and continue with us, because the next cities reveal an even deeper shift. Some cities don't change loudly, they change quietly, until one day, they no longer feel real. They still attract visitors. They still look beautiful. But beneath the surface, daily life feels staged, temporary, and disconnected. 5. Prague. Czech Republic, Prague. Looks like a city from a storybook. Cobblestone streets, Gothic towers, historic bridges, and a perfectly preserved old town make it one of the most visually striking cities in Europe. Every street feels intentional. Every view feels historic. For many visitors, Prague feels magical, affordable, charming, and timeless. But living in Prague reveals a different experience. The historic center has gradually shifted from a living neighborhood into a tourist zone. Many apartments are no longer homes, but short-term rentals. Traditional businesses have been replaced by souvenir shops and themed restaurants. As a result, daily life in central Prague often feels artificial, like a carefully designed set. For locals, this creates emotional distance. The places that once felt familiar now feel crowded and temporary. Prices in the center have increased, pushing residents into outer districts. While these areas are more livable, they lack the charm that defines Prague's global image. There is also a cultural contrast. Prague appears warm and welcoming, but social circles can feel closed to outsiders. New residents often describe the city as polite but distant. It takes time to feel truly connected. Prague remains incredibly beautiful, but emotionally, it feels divided. One city for visitors, another for residents. The charm is real, but the sense of belonging takes effort. 6. Dubrovnik. Croatia. Dubrovnik looks unreal. Surrounded by ancient stone walls and deep blue water, the city feels like a perfect Mediterranean dream. Sunlight reflects off white stone buildings, and the sea creates a dramatic backdrop. On camera, Dubrovnik looks peaceful, luxurious, and timeless. But the feeling changes once daily life begins. Tourism dominates Dubrovnik completely! Cruise ships bring thousands of visitors at once, filling the streets within minutes. The old city becomes crowded, loud, and overwhelming. For residents, timing daily activities around tourist flows becomes necessary. Many locals no longer live within the historic center. Housing has shifted towards short-term rentals, making it difficult for families to stay. Shops that once served residents now focus almost entirely on visitors. The city still functions, but not for the people who call it home. There is also a sense of repetition. Every day feels similar. The same routes, the same crowds, the same performances. Over time, this creates emotional exhaustion. Dubrovnik feels preserved, but not evolving. The city looks like paradise, but it often feels like an open-air museum, admired, photographed, and moved through, but rarely lived in. The next cities reveal a different kind of change, places that feel modern and successful, yet emotionally disconnected. If this video is helping you see Europe beyond the surface, like, subscribe, and continue with us, because the story is just getting deeper. Some cities don't lose their beauty, they lose their soul, slowly. Not through collapse, but through success. The better they look from the outside, the harder it becomes to feel connected on the inside. 7. Rome. Italy. Rome looks eternal. Ancient ruins, grand plazas, historic churches, and layers of history give the city a powerful visual identity. Every street seems to tell a story. Every building carries centuries of meaning. In photographs and films, Rome feels rich, alive, and endlessly fascinating. But living in Rome can feel surprisingly difficult. The weight of history creates practical challenges. Infrastructure is old and often unreliable. Public transport struggles to meet demand, roads are congested, and basic services can feel slow or inefficient. Daily tasks require patience, and small problems often take a long time to resolve. Tourism adds another layer of pressure. Major landmarks are constantly crowded, and many central neighborhoods feel overwhelmed by visitors. Local routines are shaped around avoiding peak hours and busy zones. Over time, this creates emotional fatigue. Economically, opportunities can feel limited, especially for younger residents. Many talented people leave Rome in search of more dynamic job markets. This creates a sense of stagnation. A city rich in past glory, but uncertain about its future. Rome remains visually powerful, but emotionally, it can feel heavy, chaotic, and demanding. The beauty is undeniable. The comfort is not. 8. Berlin! Germany! Berlin looks creative, modern, and free. Street art, open spaces, diverse communities, and a strong cultural identity give the city an edgy appeal. Photos of Berlin suggest openness, energy, and opportunity, but daily life tells a more complex story. Berlin has changed rapidly. Once known for affordability and freedom, the city now faces rising rents and intense housing competition. Many residents feel priced out of neighborhoods they once called home. The creative atmosphere that defined Berlin is becoming harder to sustain. The city also carries emotional weight. Its history is visible everywhere, creating a constant presence of memory and reflection. While this adds depth, it also shapes the city's mood. Berlin can feel serious, introspective, and emotionally heavy. Socially, Berlin appears open, but forming close connections can take time. The city attracts people from everywhere, but many stay temporarily. This creates a feeling of transience. Relationships start easily, but don't always last. Berlin still looks exciting and full of possibility, but it often feels unsettled, constantly changing, and emotionally intense. Part 4, and in the final part, we'll explore cities that seem calm and successful, yet feel surprisingly distant and quiet. If this video is reshaping how you think about Europe beyond appearances, like, subscribe, and stay with us, because the final cities bring the story together. Some places don't disappoint because they are bad. They disappoint because expectations are too high. When a city looks perfect, we assume it must feel perfect too. But reality is rarely that simple. 9. Vienna, Austria. Vienna looks elegant, calm, and perfectly organized. Wide streets, classical architecture, green parks, and efficient public transport create an image of stability and quality. Vienna regularly ranks as one of the world's most livable cities, and visually, it lives up to that reputation. But emotionally, Vienna can feel distant. Life in Vienna is structured and predictable. Systems work well. Rules are clear, and order is respected. For many people, this creates comfort and security, but for others, it can feel rigid and emotionally cold. Social integration takes time. Locals tend to keep long-established social circles, and newcomers often describe the city as polite but reserved. Making deep connections requires patience and persistence. Vienna still looks calm and refined, but it can feel emotionally quiet, efficient, stable, yet restrained. 10. Lisbon, Portugal. Lisbon looks warm, colorful, and relaxed. Hills covered in pastel buildings, sunlight reflecting off the river, and slow-moving trams create a welcoming image from photos. Lisbon feels peaceful and affordable, full of charm and simplicity. But the feeling changes for residents. Rising tourism and foreign investment have driven up housing costs. Many locals struggle to afford rent in their own neighborhoods. Traditional communities are being replaced by short-term stays, changing the social fabric. Life remains slower than many European capitals, but economic pressure adds stress beneath the calm surface. Lisbon looks gentle and inviting, but for many residents, it feels uncertain and increasingly difficult. 11. Copenhagen, Denmark. Copenhagen looks modern, clean, and balanced. Bicycles, waterfronts, and thoughtful design suggest a city built for well-being. Quality of life appears high, and visually, the city feels calm and functional. But living there requires adjustment. The cost of living is extremely high. Everyday expenses add pressure, and personal space is limited. Winters are long and dark, affecting mood and energy levels. Copenhagen works well, but emotionally, it can feel restrained and quiet. 12. Santorini, Greece. Santorini looks like perfection. White buildings, blue domes, dramatic cliffs, and stunning sunsets create one of the most photographed places in the world. But daily life feels different. Tourism dominates everything. Locals work around visitors. Seasons control income, and privacy is limited. The island feels temporarily alive for visitors. Quiet in between. Santorini is beautiful to see, but difficult to live. Final closing thought. These places are not failures. They are reminders that beauty does not guarantee belonging. A city can look perfect and still feel different. If this video changed how you see Europe beyond travel photos, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. Which city surprised you the most? And which place do you think looks beautiful but feels different once you stay?